And I just laughed.
Okay, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
We are back. This is gonna become a habit. I don't know. You feel like making a habit of this?
Yeah.
I'm tired.
The morning, like 7 a.m.
Yeah. Okay, good morning, my friends. It is Donna Fisher with FBH Wellness. This is not a dry cleaner, as somebody asked. This is a wellness studio where we have aerial yoga, Pilates, massage, chiropractor.
There we go.
Physical therapy. Anyway, and we started this because of just the nation's issues, and I just love Catrice, and quickly I said, let's do a quick conversation, and it's turned into people talking to us this week and really enjoying the conversation we had last week. And so we decided to do a continued conversation to answer some questions that people had, and you can send us questions today. But we just thought we'd do a little bit more conversation to just address some issues that people talked to us this week about. But real quick, I'm going to give you some studio updates in case you don't watch the whole video, because I know we'll probably talk too long. Okay, so this week at FBH, we are going to have our Father's Day massage special, because Sunday's Father's Day. So we have Father's Day massage special coming up, so check that out. And then we finally got all of our steel maces in. If you don't know what that is, it's fabulous. Get your inner warrior. And we have 13 of those now, so those are fun. And then we're starting our small group classes, nothing big, only up to 4 people. And so we still have all of our protocols in place. And so let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, so more importantly, okay, so this has been a traumatic week for me, I feel like. I don't know. How about you? Well, I got, stuck in the riot.
Oh, I think I saw that.
That was bad.
That was on Hillcrest and Forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I was like, where are y'all at? Are y'all
I know, and it was positive. I turned around.
It was at first.
I turned around because with our conversation and a couple conversations with people I've been in. So I'm going to be honest, okay?
Yeah.
During when this thing started, I didn't really feel like I needed to make any changes in my life because I live already this way, but there's other areas I need to make changes in. Don't get me wrong, and we'll probably address those. But in this area, I did want to branch out and maybe do something a little bolder, if that's possible.
Different, maybe outside.
Yeah, different. Yeah. And so I did intentionally make a U-turn to participate from my car in what I thought was a march.
You got to tell them where it is, though.
Where was it? The march was in Dallas, Texas, on Hillcrest and Forest. So the march turned into a sit-down where they all sat down and blocked traffic on all 4 corners, and we were stuck there for about 15 minutes, and I was blocked in on all sides, and so was many other people. And so I was about this far away from people in my car.
Oh, really?
So they were like here and here and here. And so, in the beginning, it was like, woo, I had my windows down. And I was like, kids, and I'm trying to make it a learning lesson. Let's be part of the, solution, not the problem. And I said, and then I said to them, it takes one person, any age, race, size, to make things go wrong. So we have to be careful, right? So I rolled up the windows and I said, I'm going to come up with a little plan for us as a family in case that one person decides to do something, we get ourselves in a little trouble. And then I kept the windows rolled up because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So with all the different, protests and riots and things that I've seen or whatever, I've seen some that have been peaceful.
Right.
But I'll be honest with you, some of the, I just, like you were just saying, I don't know when it's going to turn into a whole different scenario. And my thing is, I have not wanted to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. If someone decides to throw something and damage.
Any person can.
Yeah.
And then you're associated with that, either that brand, that name, that hashtag, that situation. And so it really was really good for me because I thought, you're making change. You're doing something you can do like this. I'm doing a class today. I forgot to talk about that. Free class, my time. I pick up people all the time. I know, don't send me messages. I picked up something the other day carrying her groceries. She picked up her groceries and she'd walk, and then she'd go back and pick up her groceries and walk. And she had so many groceries that she kept walking. So I just put her in the car and carried her groceries. And those things, those make change. Those are the things I can do tangible. So I decided that's probably not going to be my thing. But
it depends on the group.
It depends
on the
person
location. Because I have seen some young people who I was like, wow, they are serious, and it really was peaceful. But some of the other situations where I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be there past it's about to get dark when things kind of turn, because then it's almost like, it's kind of like at a party. Y'all know back in the day the parties would change
right.
at a certain time.
You're hanging out, you're playing pool, and then everyone kind of leaves, and then the other people stay, and then all of a sudden pool turn.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a great illustration.
Yeah. So I would not have wanted to be there, but I was kind of excited when I saw
I was too.
And then I was like, oh,
where are you?
That's close to where I am.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's sad. Yeah.
It was sad for all involved. You know what it was for me? It was a human sad moment. It wasn't a specific sad, like, I'm not going to be part of this organization, or I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to go, blue, red, left, right, Democrat.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm sad in general, and I was already sad as we've had a rough family week, but I was just sad, human sad for the human race.
Yeah. I can identify with that, because that's, if you were to say, I would say for me, probably over the last 24 hours. I don't think last week I did as much, because what you look at a lot, that's kind of what, changes your emotion. I didn't look at a whole lot last week.
Good job.
But I would say over the past 24 to 48 hours, I was just extremely, sad would probably be a good word, of the things that I have been seeing. I'm sad about, obviously I'm sad about, the injustices that are going on. But then I'm sad about, I think about police officers and their families and what they're trying to do. So I'm sad about just all of the things that I'm seeing in our nation, and how there's so much just unrest and division. We call ourselves the United States, but it's not united.
Okay, so I think with the history of human nature, we have this thing. We take something that was, a program or a situation that was, we want to do something good, and then outside forces come in and go, oh yeah, and then now this good, right? Any of these things, Black Lives Matters or Democrats, Republicans, whatever, the person in charge. Now none of these things are producing good anything. And it's hard to dive into something because now they're associated with all these other things, and it's like it's just scary, and it's hard to define, and now I want to retreat and hide and and that's what we don't want to do. I don't want to hide and be, so I'm not going to do that, but I'm also going to be careful and research.
Have wisdom, right.
Wisdom is truth. Yeah.
So
have you changed your mind, or have anything changed from last Sunday to this Sunday?
No, but what I have thought about a lot over the past week is still, because I have my own takeaways also, is to still trying to have balance. I don't want to be consumed with everything that's going on, but I do feel like I am, as a believer, I feel like that I have to say and continue to be engaged and doing what I can do within, we talk about my circles of influence or whatever, and having, different conversations. So I really have tried to have a good balance, not be so consumed with everything that I'm seeing, but still trying to stay connected, if that makes sense.
That's it, because that's not hiding. Staying connected.
No, because hiding, just because you hide or you push things up under the rug, it doesn't make it go away. It just makes things for you to trip over.
And not being angry, and that's what I saw. So the eyes on the people that were directly in front of me. It was the anger that was kind of scary. Because,
so you looked at their faces?
Because I know that anger. Because I am that anger, you know, because I know what that is. It's when the eyes turn, and that's the scary part of anger, is because that can't really be controlled, which is why all the work I do is to try not to get to that place. Because once I'm there, it's like too hard. So when I looked at them, I was like, oh, this is so scary. This isn't even about maybe the initial fight they had. This has gone past that. This is now, and when they started, you know, the hitting and the screaming and I was like, okay, I know this, and this is scary, you know? So yeah, of course I looked right in their faces, you know? It's like, you know, I just went like I'm looking at you right now. I looked right at them, and I looked, you know, at everybody.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, we are a sad nation. That's what I thought. We're sad. We're so angry and sad. And that's not the way to get back. But so, I know.
So one of the things that we talked about that we didn't talk about last week, and you kind of touched on just a little bit, because I've heard so many different sides, you know, of the BLM Black Lives Matter. How, you know, talk about that too.
And where the money goes.
The correct response and all of that stuff.
Yes. I heard a correct response yesterday.
What's the correct? What?
No, I heard about, someone said to me, I mentioned to someone, I have had the hardest week addressing confrontation.
Oh, really?
Because it is in my face.
Okay.
All day long. And it used to be just in my face with maybe one or two people. And now it's in my face on 4 or 5 different levels, right? So you have the home front, I have my leadership role as an owner and, you know, contract labor, which is, you know, up to 15 people. And then I have, you know, the other people that I, you know, go to, and then I have my other jobs and what they're asking me to do, and me standing up for what I feel is right in that realm. And then I have my entire clientele that may believe different than me or whatever. And then over here, it was so overwhelming. I said to him, like, I'm not handling this well. I can feel myself, you know.
About to what? Boil up?
Well, just,
over?
no,
anxiety?
retreat.
Okay, anxiety.
Run away. And so I mean, you know, brilliant people say brilliant things sometimes. And that not so much sometimes. But I was spending too much energy, you know, and my response needs to just stop the conversation before we, you know, get to that escalation point. Because me going there isn't really going to change someone.
So he felt like it was getting ready to go to escalation. And
I was allowing things to really affect me and emotionally drain me.
So what was the correct response you said that you said you heard?
Well, just so if you say you were talking to me about, okay, let's say you're talking to me about a conversation, and you're gonna say, well, girl, you know, and I'm against what you're saying, right? And so I don't really want to have, and then you say, what do you think?
Oh, okay.
What do you think? And so I'm like, so because I'm an Enneagram 2, and I care about how you feel about me, I might put a lot of emotional energy into worrying about how you respond. I can just say, you know, I'm not really a person in the place where I get to make those decisions. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter what I think about dismantling the police. Or, I mean, I don't get to vote.
They want to see where you are, though. If they,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they just kind of want to pick.
But why?
And see where you are.
But why?
And I don't know who that.
Right? Is that a safe environment?
Well, I don't know. That depends on the individual. I'll give you an example. Like I was at this party last night, a graduation party, and I don't think it should be to the point where everywhere I go,
right?
You know, I'm at a party or I'm at a meeting. Girl, what do you think about blah blah? You know, just kind of bringing it up. Sometimes it depends on who the individual
right.
is.
Well, just now you asked me my opinion about parenting, and I could have just said nothing and just said good luck with that.
And I probably would have been like,
oh, okay. She don't want to talk about that.
Thank you. Yeah,
But
but it's hard to not talk about things that are going on a national
I know, but
level.
I was getting overwhelmed. So for me, in order to have enough energy and sustainability to do my job and take care of my family and myself, I took what we did last week, which is okay. And I wanted to, my personality is I want to give more, I want to do more, I want to save the world, and it was like, okay, that isn't working, right? And that's okay. That's great. I mean, I only spent a week there, not 6 months or a year there.
Right.
I came back. I asked for help, and it's good. But so that, and I think if going further into that, I would have got myself in a little bit of trouble, because then when I try to fix something and it doesn't happen, then I would get bitter and angry, and I can see where the anger would then start to really boil up.
I think it depends on your environment and where you are. Like, to me, I didn't feel a need, like, within that group last night to just, I think I'm just going to ask them, hey, what do you think about what's going on? Or what? Right. And had someone else maybe brought that up, then I probably would have engaged. But I just don't think it's something that I'm just going to bring up in every circle. If it was more like, you and I one-on-one talking or whatever, then I think that may be okay. But I don't think it's just something to come up. But sometimes it is hard to avoid because it is everywhere.
Everywhere.
I'm getting emails from companies saying, hey, we don't agree with what is happening. I mean, lots of companies are putting statements out there. So it's probably is just a matter of who you decide to engage with. We talked about that last week of just maybe your personal circles. We'll talk about it again today within a personal group, my community group, and how we are, what we're doing, and kind of where we are from the last time where we had the conversation and the things that we decide to put in place. Okay, where are we on that? How are we going to serve cops or police officers or whatever? So we'll kind of follow up on that. But like I said, I just don't want to be just overwhelmed, which we talked about that too. We'll just...
Then we're not useful at all. Then we're not even useful. I'm not or whatever. So I think it just kind of depends on your circle. But there are lots of opinions out there. And I still think you have to be intelligent enough in a place to disagree if you disagree with someone. Let's go back to that personal responsibility word, which that's my favorite thing of COVID, is that whole phrase, is personal responsibility. Like, that's been my thing my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
People blame other people, and I want to go, hang on a second. I know there's any weight, and it's like, well, your husband told me you eat a gallon of ice cream every day. What about some personal responsibility? But I've never used that phrase, but it's always in the back of my mind. But now it's like, ooh, I can just throw that phrase around.
Yes.
Thank you, COVID.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Personal, and that's kind of what I thought too when I was watching the riot. I thought to myself, okay, I love it that you're bold and you're doing this. I mean, there's nothing more for me to see someone stand up for what they believe in the right way.
The right way.
I find that, just awesome. And I like when they're able to listen to the other side, right?
Without throwing rocks in.
Without kicking cars in. But as soon as I saw, what had happened to their inside, and I thought that could be so much. That could be how they were raised, or that could be how they live, that could be poverty, that could be pain, that could be so much.
It's a lot.
And the personal responsibility of, I'm not going to vandalize someone's car, or I'm not going to pull this guy off the motorcycle. I mean, I was like, oh, that's so that's the part that in my self and in parenting my kids, and I was like, guys, it's never. No one's condoning that. We want you to be bold and stand up and be protective and caring and loving and blah, 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 blah. And if it comes down to self-protecting, but always at the caution of caring for others.
Right. So,
no matter what they believe, or what color, race, or size, shape, or disability they have.
So did you have any other questions come up this week? Anything else that kind of that stood out Because I had a lot of, I listened to lots of extremes of the side of the coin. Different, yeah.
Ooh. I think this week it was more about the increased number of COVID cases is what I was kind of...
That did come back, didn't it?
Man,
you start
it
seeing
did.
more of that. Okay.
Hitting hard.
Okay. Yeah.
I probably need to bring someone else on to talk about that.
Yeah, that I was like, oh, it's back again, you know. Well, we in Dallas, so yeah,
okay.
in Texas or
That's
whatever.
That's a different live video.
Yeah. But you know, some of the things too that you know, kind of I observed was just looking a lot at the pain, and that's coming from a standpoint of losing a loved one. I did look at the services, and I'm sitting up there thinking, I could not imagine being in the place. It's painful because a parent does not expect to bury a child.
Mm-hmm. God no.
Normally, it's I won't say normal, but I guess the usual maybe. Is that
well, in your mind, it's human nature to think, you know, you're gonna bury your parents.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that was very painful and emotional, rising up again, because I did choose to look at the memorial and the service that they had for.
Okay, because this is what you did. You looked at a mother and a child.
That's what, yes.
You did not look at a criminal or...
Oh, no.
Right, so that's what people take... It's your choice, right? So it's your choice how you look at it. So you could... Are you talking about Floyd?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could... people were... so two sides, right? So we're not going to turn him into a martyr because he's a criminal. That's one side. We're not going to watch it. We're not going to participate in this. And the other side is, oh my gosh, this man was wrongfully killed. The man was wrongfully killed. Stop. We know that. He was someone's son. Stop. He did die. You're right. So you looked at it with those things in mind. He was someone's child.
Maybe
and he died. Right,
yeah.
right. So that's it.
But then, you know what? So as you're speaking of that, that reminds me. I don't know if you all if you've ever watched the Passion of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
One of the scenes in that movie just made me just break down and just boo-hoo cry. Was when Christ when he was carrying his cross and he fell with it, and they showed a scene where the mother was looking at him on the ground with the cross, and she was not able to go over and help her son. That broke me down right there, because once again, you know, as a mother, you want to go over and you got a child, you want to help your child, irregardless of what's going on with them. You want to be the one to come and rescue them. Same thing in this case right here. I saw it from the perspective of, because even if your child is the worst, you know, some of us got some rough kids.
I was the worst.
You still love them.
We talked about that. I was a bad kid.
And we want to help them and rescue. I don't care what they have done. I always say, you know, God forbid if your child ends up, or my child ends up going to jail or hanging with the wrong group or whatever, that's still a son.
You can
mourn. Still a daughter.
You can mourn the loss of a child. You can mourn the loss of a child without excusing the behavior.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
Mourn the loss of a child without excusing the behavior. Just because we're mourning the loss of a child and acknowledging the wrong of another human being does not mean we're ignoring his wrongful choices.
Right. So that goes to another thing that I hate to see when I'm looking at different news stories, is to hear, that's just me, a reporter say, oh, let's say the person's name is Anthony. Oh, Anthony, you know, Anthony got shot or whatever. He died, whatever, drowned, I don't know, whatever. And for them to say Anthony was a good child, he had his whole life ahead of him, he was an A-B student. And my first thought was, well, what if he was a CD student? Does that make it okay? Does that make it okay?
Oh my God.
So the CD student deserves to die.
Oh wow, he could die at 30.
So
he could die at 30.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so do you think the black community is divided now, or are they united?
Oh, it's division everywhere. It's division.
Oh.
It's not just that community. I would say there's division in every.
Of course, every community. But is it increasing because of the situation?
I would say probably so. I would say that just as that community is divided, the church is divided, and it's been divided for a while. You got people, we got the elephants. You got political divisions. So there's that. I just said at the beginning, the United States right now, we're not united. We are not. We call ourselves United States. It is not united. Mm-hmm. And united doesn't necessarily mean we agree on everything. A lot of people just don't know how to deal with the disagreements. If we disagree, that means you're not my friend anymore. I don't like, I know. We are not united. I'm not going to claim unity in any area right now.
That's good.
It is, and so we're so quick to say, Lord bless America. We need to be blessing Him. That's just me. And yes, I agree that I do agree that, and I know some people say this, that all lives matter, but it's not. If we were in your neighborhood and your house was on fire, and there were crowds standing around, and my house is not on fire, I'm not going to go to the fireman and say, well, what about my house? Well, it's not my house that's on fire, it's her house. And so it is your house that matters at the time. It's your house that's on fire. It's your house that is in danger right now. That's just like people who, march and stand, outside of they're really into the pro-life, life within the womb. What they're concerned about, those lives that are in danger in the womb. And so it's not enough just to say we know all. What lives are in danger right now? What lives do we see?
All Black Lives Matter right now. We're just putting a focus on that because this is the moment where we have the crisis going on. This is where the fire truck is going.
This is where the fire truck is going because there's danger.
That doesn't mean no other lives matter.
That does not mean yes, because
the concern is where the money goes. I think that was the main question all week. The money that is raised for the Black Lives Matter, the main hub of
the organization.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't researched it.
Well, yeah. So I don't want to lay a claim on social media, but I think people should research that and make a decision on their own.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I will.
It's not a negative or positive.
So is that like an organization, like let's say if you have I don't know, whatever your organization, nonprofit or the food pantry or whatever.
Yeah, so
people send money in to,
yes.
Okay, so I don't know about that. I haven't done that part.
But doesn't mean that when you hashtag the money goes there. But when you so like today we are doing a fundraiser, thanks to Kathy Ross-Nash. But so teachers from all over the world are doing free Pilates classes, and you can go on Zoom and donate money. And so we're getting the money tripled by some small companies, and so that money is going to Campaign Zero for zero tolerance. And so it's like, where does that money go?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've not researched.
Right. So that's the question people ask me. So like when all this money that we're raising for. Which I want to give money. I mean, I don't have any money, but
You got money.
Yeah, well, not really. Okay, it's like you parenting. Like, is your child doing anything? You're good. Okay, yes, I do have enough to feed my children, and I'm trying to sustain a small business, but I don't have millions of dollars to make a difference in a program like this. But yes, I'm going to give my time today, and I will do almost anything. I will give everything I have to help. That's what kind of money I have. So where does the money go? We've raised millions of dollars, and famous people have donated millions of dollars. Where is the money going? That's the question people want. We don't have to answer that today, but that is a big concern because every time we've had these things rise up, money gets mishandled, and then it creates more chaos and division. So that's been It's a good question.
I would say probably, I haven't researched that, so
Yeah.
I would know. I've given to homeless ministries.
Yeah.
You give where you have
You don't have to.
and if you know the organization, like I know our
Yeah.
calling. I know our calling. I know they're doing a great job.
I
So
only
that's
give to certain things as well, but they're in the world in general. People
Oh,
sometimes
no.
just start sending money. So that's
Oh,
a
no,
question
no.
that's been asked this week.
No, because I feel like I have to be. I'm responsible for being a steward.
Personal responsibility.
over
Look it up. You know.
my $1, my $5, and so I just don't. It's either for me. It's either an individual who I know is in need,
Right.
or if it's an organization, I can already name a few within the Dallas area that I know that are solid Jewish Family Service, that I know they're going to spend the money the right way.
And so that is.
So I don't know what I haven't sent the money to Black Lives Matter
It's
because
an issue.
I didn't know, so I have to research that.
Good.
and find
It's
out.
good for both of us. Okay, so anything
That's a
else?
good point. Yeah.
I know. Well, only because someone said to me the other day, and I said, okay, well, thank you for telling me that information. I'll look it up. So,
Did they think you were giving money to? They just said they just curious about where the money.
they were making sure that I knew, with all my power and my 124 followers,
Yeah.
because I'm such an influencer, that my impact was going for whatever their agenda was. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But I'm just saying, people always want to persuade you to their side with their comments. But it did raise a thing in my mind, because I do know that many of times I've raised money for everything, mostly animals, but in my daughter, wheelchairs and dogs and things. But we do want to know, right, where does the money go? When that money's in the bank account, who has access to the bank account and who's taking the money out? Is the money actually getting the wheelchairs for the kids? Is the dogs actually getting the medicine? Or is the money going to the, so those are just questions that people, I think that when there's a lot of money.
Is there a lot of money?
There's a lot of money. It gets mishandled sometimes. I'm just saying. So we'll move on from that topic so we don't get ourselves in trouble.
Okay.
Anytime you put yourself out there in the world, you get yourself in trouble.
Okay. Well, I give the 60.
Well, hang on. I get in trouble.
I do. I probably do too. I probably do too. But anyway, my thing is, irregardless, I want to love well.
Yeah.
I want to love you and love people well.
Yeah, that's
But I put that on my to-do list, and I'll try to see what I can find out, because I have no idea.
okay. So we have a to-do list. We're going to try to find out. I think
Yeah.
I know the answer to the question, but I want to make sure before I announce. So, okay. Anything else? Thank you guys for being with us last week, and thanks for challenging us to do this again, for getting up.
I know, right?
My eyeballs this morning were like, what am I doing? I've had long days this week. I think that we had so much good feedback that it really stimulated my thought process to challenge myself in many ways, which was really good.
I'm one to always, or seem like, I won't say always, they say never say always, but it seems like a lot of times, like if I'm just sitting around, my thought process is always, and we hear this, is I draw in a circle around myself. I do a lot of self-examination. Like, you don't have to examine me. I'm already examining myself. Am I loving well? Am I, listening to the things that I say, the conversations, people who I'm engaging with, or am I to a place where I'm not doing that well? So I'm always trying to do better in my position of where I am, in my sphere of influence as I have those conversations, because I want to do well. I always want to love better. Love better.
And not feeding off other people's, I felt like that's what, when I was watching the scene the other day, I thought, so one person, ran over to take control, and then I watched people run over, and I thought, what if you don't want to be violent? What if you don't want to? Like, what if your goal was to sit here and make a stance and do something good, right? And be bold. And so would you be persuaded, it's like in high school, would you be persuaded to do drugs? Would you be persuaded to go over there? Could you make a stand to do something different? Could your stance in this moment be to not be violent?
Yeah.
To not run over with this person who started this? So those were also good for me too, because there was a lot of people that stayed their ground and did not get up.
Well, as you were saying, it reminds me. I don't know if you experienced this in high school, But in high school, when
I experienced a lot.
when a fight would break out.
I would be the one fighting.
Okay, so my thing was, I can look at the fight from afar, but I don't want to go close to that crowd. And I even tell kids.
What? I'm the one in the fight going, did you say something to me?
No, I may stand back from afar because especially nowadays, you don't know what could happen within that crowd. Back then, it might have just been, I don't know what people fought with, fists, sticks, or whatever. But now it could be guns. So I don't want to be. Matter of fact, I told my son, if people break out in a fight, you need to go the other way. You need to go the other way and stay away from that because you don't know what's going to come.
Well, that's word for word what I said to my kids.
You were the one in the.
Well, okay. In my defense, I don't need to say this, but I will because who knows who's watching. About 99% of the time, if I was in a fight, it was because some injustice was happening. Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, if you said something about someone that I loved,
you're gonna stand up.
Oh, forget it. It was over.
So now you're figuring it. So over the time, you're figuring out how to channel.
Yes. So that's
the right way. Channel those injustices.
This has been my whole 50-year journey.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. It's because somebody said something. A lot of times, somebody would hurt somebody I love, and I didn't know how to protect them, and so I would just protect them by.
How would you do that now?
Well, way different. First of all, I would stop. I have this phrase where I pause, pray. And then by that time, whatever the situation is, I may not even need to do anything because it's probably have already diminished. But protect the person is more important than sometimes defending them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times too, when people come at that, they may tell you, "Have you had a conversation?" We'll say that. Like if you come to me and you talking to me about, I don't know, Patsy over there. Patsy, blah, blah, blah. So my things would be, "Have you had a conversation with Patsy?"
Oh yeah, I don't do gossip. Yeah.
Well, that was just an example. Have you had a conversation with?
Well, how about we bring Patsy over here?
Okay, Patsy.
Yeah.
Come on, Patsy.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with her instead of me engaging with you, send you back to have a one-on-one conversation with her. And that could go back to what we're talking about, the conversations. Have you engaged? Have you done your research?
Okay.
They're extremely hard.
That's hard. The reason I've never done those in the past is because I was always afraid of myself because I would hurt someone's feelings and I did not want to create a wall between me and that person. That's what I'm working on. How can I say something to you that's contrary to what you may believe or feel in a way that's not hurtful, that you and me can continue our friendship, and when you leave here, you're not going, "Oh, Donna, that's crazy." I'm not responsible for how you think, but that's the part that's challenging.
Do you love me?
Yes.
Okay, so I would think whatever you're going to say to me, it's coming out of your love for me.
But that's because you know me. Right, but in the world, people, yes, this is not normal.
Okay.
Because we could have a United States of America if this.
Yeah, but because I know that, like, I could have taken offense to some things this week, but because I knew who it was coming from.
Correct.
I knew who it was coming from, and so really, I did ask for clarification. Because I kind of think I knew what she was saying. And I know the lady that I had the conversation with, but I knew it came from a place of love. Because she basically said, I've been arm wrestling some things with my son.
Right, which is what I just said.
Okay, great. Okay. Right.
But
I did not take offense to it.
But you're also open. Not everybody's open to hear those things.
Because it could have been hurtful, but it was a truth. And so you have to speak the truth in love.
Well,
that's a good place to end. Speak the truth in love.
Speak the truth in love.
Yeah. And
quit arm wrestling. Come on, let's arm wrestle. Oh, come on, let me get my guns.
Where we go? Oh, she got... I love it. I love it.
All right, guys, have a great Sunday. And as Drisha would say, make good choices.
Make good choices. Okay.
She says that to everything she does. The other day she said, "Okay, girls, have a great day."
You gotta have a tagline.
As the teens left, she goes, "Girls, make good choices." And I was like, "What? I like that." She goes, "Oh, I always say that." And I was like, "I just stole your line."
Yeah, make good choices.
I did. I stole a couple of things that people said this week.
I got some good choices I'm gonna make now that I've had a conversation with you before we came
Sam's in trouble.
No, it's gonna be good.
Okay, good.
No, it's gonna be good based on what you said.
All right. Love you guys. Signing off.
Bye.
I want to arm wrestle again.
I know you do got some guns, girl.